Well, hello. How is everybody? It's Wednesday, February the 18th, 2026, and I have a lot to talk about. We're going to go through it as quickly as possible on the Nancy Guthrie case. Just some live updates here, but we're going to wait for an audience. No use just talking to my iPad. So if you're watching on the replay, you might want to fast forward to the first couple of minutes. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Let me just get my iPad turned on here. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? There we go. I can hear me. Let me just get my iPad turned on here. Kelly, how you doing? There we go. It's echoing, so I had to mute the volume. But at least I know people can hear me. Let me know how your day is going. Just waiting for some people to come in. Hopefully we'll get like at least 10. I'd like to get more than that, but we'll get 5 or 10 and we'll get started. There's a lot to report, just a lot of, I even had to make some notes because there's some quick points that we just have to go over regarding Nancy Guthrie and the latest. And I have to talk about something that I said yesterday. I just need to clarify something. And we are in day number 18. Poor Nancy has been gone 18 days. And I don't know if the law enforcement people are even close to finding her, which is it's very heartbreaking. Let's just see if people are going to come in. I hope people are not losing interest in this. I put out a short video today on this. Oh, your name is April, 4559 April. Well, welcome, April. I've only ever met one other April in my lifetime. And that was in childhood. Wow. Where are you coming in from? Excuse my Kuma Bear hat, but it's very cold in LA. It's freezing. I mean, the heat was running all night long. That's how bad it is. It's for LA. There was snow on the mountains. Somebody sent me some Starbucks cards, and I kind of prefer coffee bean and tea leaf, but I went down to Starbucks, and I could actually see the snow on the mountains from the valley. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Kelly. Hi, we're going to be having fun. Welcome. I haven't seen you before. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Just waiting to get some people. Here we go, 26. Okay, let's get some thumbs up and get some red hearts in that chat to get this out on YouTube. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm here in Los Angeles. Hi, where? Oh, I just saw you. Okay, let's just say what I got to say. I'm here in Los Angeles, and I'm reporting on the Nancy Guthrie missing person case. I am a detective. 42 years. It'll be 42 years on February the 24th. Licensed in California since 1992. We're going to talk about this. Just please be aware that anything that I say is just pure conjecture. We're just discussing this. We're not saying that anybody's guilty or that anybody should be guilty. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So if someone is a suspect or they're a person of interest or they've been detained or their pictures floating around on YouTube or the internet, it doesn't mean that that person is guilty. I am private, Finn, in California. Oh, thanks. This is a Seattle Mariners Kuma Bear cap. I don't wear it outside because I would look ridiculous. But hey, I'm willing to go on YouTube and look ridiculous because it's warm. Yes, I am a professional detective. I started February 24th, 1984 in Beverly Hills and never looked back. This chat is going to be about Nancy Guthrie, as everybody knows, the mother of today's show co-host Savannah Guthrie. Here we go. Hi, Timmy. Okay. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about this person, Kayla Day, and her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, significant other, Luke Daly. A couple times in the beginning of the video, when I was referring to Luke Daly, Matt Daly, and his mother, Mary Daly, I said Day. And I knew it was Daly. Daly, D-A-L-E-Y. There's 3 different ways to spell Daly. The person that is Day that I did refer to correctly, that's Kayla Day. She was the one that was arrested last May on drug trafficking in the same vehicle as Luke Daly, which is, I believe, short for Lucas Daly. Those are the yahoos whose house was raided on Friday the 13th. She was not in the house at that time because she was already apparently incarcerated. Some people are saying the 14th, but she was picked up on the 12th. Now, when they actually, put her behind bars in the actual Pima County Jail, that could have been on the 14th. But she was picked up at 11 p.m. the night of the 12th of last week, the day before Friday the 13th. And less than 24 hours later, there was these raids that went down in Marana, and some people, I think, pronounce it Marana. I'm saying Marana. I'm saying it the Spanish way. I don't know. I don't live in Arizona. Timmy, okay, we have to take you out of the chat. We don't have time for, let's see. We don't have time for this. Bye, Timmy. If my mod is still in here, can you check these messages? Sometimes we have to take people out. Hey, Bear. So back to Daly and Day. Day is in county. I haven't checked her since yesterday, though, but I think she's still there. I need to go online and check. She is there on some outstanding warrants related to her drug trafficking charges, and she is connected to this Daly family that lives very close to Nancy Guthrie in Shadow Hills. Supposedly, when Matt and Mary were detained up at the house during the FBI raid with the SWAT team, the other brother that is connected to Kayla Day, he was allegedly the one that was driving the dark gray Range Rover, but that Range Rover either is or was registered to that Zach Jahoub, the Middle Eastern man from Amman, Jordan, who is the co-owner of the car dealership that's also in the same area, the car dealership that's owned by him and some Russian guy. We won't go into what I've heard about that. I just can't even say it here. I can't state it publicly. Don't know if the Dalys have any connection to Jahoub other than they may have, bought or sold a car from one another to each other. I don't know. This Jahoub guy is now online. I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram, but he's been online saying, hey, I wasn't even in the country. I sold the car a month ago. There's other reports that the car was sold the day after Nancy disappeared. There's still a lot of misinformation on the car, on the Range Rover, but it is in police custody. It's in FBI custody. It was towed from the Culver's parking lot on the night of the 13th. Kellyanne says, I saw today they were showing the glove that they had, but they're assuming there's a ring on his finger like a class ring. Now, do you think this might be a woman, not a man? No, I think it's a man, and I have my own ideas who it is based on something that I saw on the video, especially when I slowed it down and I paused it. I saw something that matches some pictures of somebody, but I'm not going to say who I think it is or could be. This Luke was not arrested, nor was his brother Matt or his mother Mary. They were simply detained and they were released. They were reported as people of interest. And I think the reason they were reported as people of interest because of the connection to the Range Rover, but I don't know how the Range Rover is involved in the actual Nancy Guthrie disappearance. For some reason, they have something that they needed that Range Rover for. And I'm not sure why, because the police are not going to reveal their hand. So let's just clear that up, that the Dalys are the Dalys and Kayla is Day. And there is a connection. And there still is no confirmation or denial that she is a relative to the Guthries, because they're saying that Nancy's deceased husband had a sister who had a daughter and that this Kayla is her daughter. But other people are saying, no, it's not true, because the Guthrie family originated from, I believe it was Kentucky, and that this family is related to some Guthries in Indiana. I don't know. Indiana, Kentucky, they're very close to each other. some people are saying that she's definitely the cousin once removed of Savannah Guthrie, and she is the grandniece of Nancy Guthrie. I'm not saying that because other people are saying that has not been proven yet. Just so you know, that has not been proven that she's a relative. But I think because when Savannah did her speech on Sunday, it almost seemed like she was pleading to somebody she knew to come forward. And, we went over all that yesterday, that it's never too late to come forward. What about the son-in-law? Is he still a suspect? I'm going to talk about that, Kelly. The police, they're claiming, Sheriff Nanos is claiming that the family's no longer a suspect. And as Megyn Kelly would say, and I'm not a big Megyn Kelly fan, I don't agree with her politics, but when she talked about this, she said, and I can't quote her, but she said, that's effing BS. And absolutely, I agree, that's effing BS. I don't care what they say publicly, nobody has been eliminated. Even if he says this person and this person and this person, they're eliminated, that no police department goes on and says something like that when we have an unsolved crime. Nobody is eliminated. Nancy either is or was 84 years old, Finn. Yeah. So we back to that Range Rover. We don't know who was driving it when they pulled over and they detained a driver. Because some people are in the camp that it was Zach Jahoub, whose real name is like Saidon Hamad El Jahoub. And other people are like, no, it was Luke Daly. Also, people are saying that not the guy in the ski mask that was filmed by the Nest video at Nancy's house, but there was another guy that was on somebody's porch or front patio 8 days before. It was a woman's house, but she was on vacation and she didn't see she had a Ring doorbell, that particular person. She was about 5-6 miles away, and there's a guy with a beard and a mustache, and he's like grabbing at things, but he's not taking anything. People say that he looks very similar in appearance to this Daly person, and not Matt Daly, but Luke Daly. Once again, the Dalys are not suspects. They're not official suspects. They have not been named by the police or the FBI. But there's something that the police were interested in to detain 3 of them and tow away a vehicle. Okay? They can also say that Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cione are not suspects, but they've spent 2 weeks, tearing up the house, taking away bags and bags of evidence. So, and they have their car as well. So nobody's been eliminated. Don't believe everything you hear in a case like this. That's all I'm saying. Don't believe it. That's absolutely, as Megyn Kelly said, it's effing BS. That is not the case, and I will go to the grave with that. No one is ruled out. Exactly, Kelly. Now, if you follow TMZ, thumbs up, everybody, if you're still here. Thanks for listening to my rant. If you've been following TMZ, Harvey Levin said yesterday that they were done with these ransoms and they weren't going to report anything more, and he set out to the person that's writing them, like, if you would like to, send me more emails, we'll be happy to forward everything to the FBI. But we're no longer going to talk about this guy anymore. We're no longer going to talk about ransoms. And then I wake up this morning and he's like, there's another ransom. And everybody's like, oh my God. And supposedly they're talking about a particular type of cryptocurrency. Now, before they were using the term Bitcoin, I don't want to sound stupid here, but is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency the same thing? I know it's digital money. It's not actual physical money, but I don't know anything about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And apparently they're, back to demanding $6 million again. And the consequences for not doing so are graphic. But he wouldn't say what they were. But, he wasn't going to talk about ransom note people after yesterday. He has. Now, moving on. I know I'm going through this quickly, but the FBI has now made a plea to the federal government of Mexico. Oh, thanks for the red hearts. Thumbs up, everybody. 10 people watching, only 6 thumbs up. Get this out here. Get it shared. Get the thumbs up. Get the red hearts. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It helps a lot. Oh, hi, hearts. Yeah, you can watch the news on the playback if you'd like when you have time. The FBI has now gone to Mexico, and they've talked to federal authorities, and they've advised of the situation, and they want all this information passed on to local law enforcement in Mexico. So the case has now gone international. There are now authorities involved in Mexico. To what extent? We don't know. Did they just put out an APB on Nancy, All Points Bulletin, or is there more to it? Because there are things in the ransom note that make people believe that she's in Mexico. Is she? Maybe. Was she? Maybe. Where is she now? We have no idea. I wish I did know. Also, I want to clear something up. Hey, 23 people. Hey. I can't believe it. Thank you so much, especially for this time of the day on a Wednesday afternoon here in LA. Please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a subscribe. Click the bell icon. Then you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. I need to be clear about what I said yesterday regarding, and I'm not even going to name her, but there was a woman in Australia that has a YouTube channel, and she claims to be a psychic or a medium. And she and her daughter, who coincidentally, her daughter's name is Kayla, they go through, there was my ding ding for my YouTube counter. Anyway, they go through the spirit box, and the mother asks the questions, and the daughter has a headset on, and then she yells out the answers to the mom, who, then asks the next question. Now, that's for entertainment purposes only. There are people that are psychic, that are mediums, but most of it is fraud. These YouTube channels, they have tens of thousands of subscribers. I'm sure some people have more than 1 million. They're making money off the viewership. You cannot take anything that they say as the truth. So when I went through some of the key words that were said or revealed in that spirit box reading, that was just something that I was making notes on from this woman in Australia. I don't say that that's true at all. Some lady wrote me on, I think it was that video, saying that she's going to contact some authorities, Angel something or other. I can't remember, but they look for like missing people underwater and in lakes and so forth. Like, don't take anything that I say as the absolute here and waste authorities' time with any suggestions or something you heard on my channel and now you got to call the authorities. If you want to send some information, you can always write me an email. I'm happy to read the emails, and if there's something important, I'll forward it to the people that need to have it. But, don't be calling the cops or the FBI or the sheriffs based on anything you're hearing here. This case, I'm simply reporting on it. I'm not investigating it in an official or unofficial capacity. I do not work for Pima County Sheriffs. I do not work for the FBI. I've worked cases with the FBI before, FBI agents. There's a lot of retired FBI agents that are in the PI business that I deal with on a pretty regular basis, but I'm not working for the FBI. I'm not working for the Guthrie family. This is just, I'm reporting this as a content creator on YouTube. I feel like I have a lot vested in this because I feel very bad that this is an 84-year-old woman. I spent my whole, career helping people, and I feel helpless here sitting in LA. I wish I wasn't the age that I am and disabled and having all these surgeries and medicals. I wish I could just, be free to hop in a car and drive down to Tucson and find out what the heck is going on. But I'm not involved in this in anything, in any way officially. So, please don't take anything that you hear on these lives or in any of my videos and call the police with information. That's just, now if you have additional information from somebody else and you guys want to give somebody a tip, that's fine. If you guys want to send me an email, that's fine. It's aprildavispi@gmail.com. If it's something significant, I'll be happy to forward it for you. Just like I said, don't call law enforcement out and waste their time on, something that, you heard from a psychic or a spirit box reader. they're very busy. In the first 2 weeks, I think they had over 30,000 tips to deal with. I'm sure the number's higher than that now. They've had to call in extra ground troops, basically boots on the ground. They've had to call in an additional 400 agents and a kidnapping team that will, like a hostage negotiator team. They've called that team in to Tucson. Hello, Leanne. Nice to see you. So, they've got their hands full. The whole country is like, focused on this. The media, the police, the sheriff, the FBI. Now Mexico is involved in this. I think TMZ needs to step aside, like they said they were going to do yesterday. I mean, I've never met Harvey, but I was at a meeting or a book signing with him once with Jane Velez Mitchell, and he seemed like a really nice dude. And I like TMZ. Me and my bestie, we were actually on TMZ before. That's some crazy thing over at Tila Tequilas. We got on TMZ, not by choice, but we were. So I've watched them for years. I enjoy watching him and hearing what they have to say. Their website has to report. But you know what? He said yesterday we're not going to go over any more ransoms. And then as soon as I woke up this morning, I always check my emails and my internet first, and I saw like, oh, there's another ransom that was sent to TMZ. And the kidnapper or the person writing these ransom notes, who may have nothing to do with this, and they may just be after money, they said they weren't going to contact them anymore. They keep giving deadlines, and this is your last email, and this is my last letter, this is the last attempt, or else, and there will be consequences. And then more letters come in. So, you have to take those with a grain of salt too, because I'm still not convinced the woman was even kidnapped. I know she was abducted from her home. I know that she didn't just walk away. I have a very hard time with the botched robbery, botched burglary theory. I have a very hard time with that, although this is not a typical kidnapping. So there is a possibility that something like that could have gone wrong, and then they had to kill her, and then they took her away. But I don't think so. I think she was targeted. She was very specifically targeted, and these people are not professionals. They're probably working for somebody else. I still look at people close to the family or close to her as being potential people of interest or suspects. But I'm sure there's more that the police know, the sheriff's department and the FBI, that they're not discussing publicly. Those are just my feelings. My first feeling was, oh my God, it's connected to Savannah Guthrie because she's famous and, she's got a target on her back. And now they've gone after her poor mother, who apparently had made countless appearances on the Today Show. But it may have nothing to do with Savannah Guthrie. And, none of these people of interest have been arrested. The only person that's sitting in the slammer right now is this Kayla Noel Day, and that has nothing to do with the Guthrie case. Absolutely nothing. Now, are her associates still people of interest? I don't know, but nobody's been arrested for this. Multiple people have been detained, including Carlos Palazuela, the poor DoorDash driver who just, probably just about crapped his pants. I'm sorry to say that. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what that must have been like, having a spouse and his kids in the car and, the FBI and the police pulling him over and cuffing him and throwing him in the back of a squad car. And, they never even interviewed him. He was let go after they conducted the raid at his mother-in-law's house. I don't think that guy, in my mind, he's the only person in this whole story that's been going on for 18 days. He's the only person eliminated. But yet they had a reason to pull him over. I don't know what that was, but he was not arrested. Please like, send red hearts, and comment. Subscribe. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Who knows? It is a really complicated case that is unfolding. Yes. Deanna says, she loves my hat. Well, yeah, it's a Kuma Bear cap. It's from the Seattle Mariners. It was after a Japanese pitcher that's been no longer for several years. So this is very old. I don't wear it in public, but I am wearing it live on YouTube. But it's really cozy. I like it. My pets like it too. My former giant cat that was about the size of a baby mountain lion. He used to like hold this and sleep with it all the time. Any more questions? Got to catch up with the chat. Okay, Finn, I missed this. Do you think it's possible Nancy could have had an argument with her daughter and could have aggravated the kidnapping, as in her daughter asked someone to do this? We don't know. We don't know. We just know that the police and the FBI have been, especially the FBI, they've spent an awful lot of time gathering evidence at the house of Annie Guthrie and her husband, Tommaso Cione. We also know that Tommaso Cione doesn't have the best judge of character based on one of his bandmates being a convicted felon. I don't know if Tommaso and Annie know the Dailies or this Kayla Noel Day, who may or may not be a family relative. There's too much that is just unknown to the public. You were about 1 foot from Beckham when Seattle played Galaxy. I had to keep myself from grabbing him. Very hot in person. Yeah. Yes, he is. Kellyanne, the police stated today that they've been trying very hard going through everyone's cameras multiple times, not just once, all of a sudden do it now. They should have been doing this from the beginning. Yeah. I think that the Pima County sheriffs just didn't have the manpower. And then that's when, FBI got called in, and then now FBI's called in additionally, I think 400 additional. It's either 400 total or 400 additional people from other offices have been sent into Tucson. Excuse me, I still have to hydrate because of that kidney thing. Still waiting for the results of the x-rays to see what's next. I'm not too worried about it this week. My doctor's in New Zealand for 2 weeks, so it'll all get straightened out when he gets back and we get those x-rays. So in the meantime, I just keep drinking water and juice. And because somebody had sent me some Starbucks cards for the holidays, I went and grabbed a drink. And it wasn't very good. It was this pistachio thing, and it was actually kind of gross. I have to say, I prefer coffee bean and tea leaf. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. And no, I don't have a monetized channel. Yeah. By going through all these cameras, that's how the lady that was out of town, who was 5-6 miles away, she was the one that found a man on her porch too, 8 days before. And that man kind of closely resembles this Luke Daly guy. And a lot of people think Luke Daly is behind the mask, the ski mask. I don't know that it's Luke Daly at all behind the ski mask. I have my thoughts on actually somebody else that could be behind the mask, but I'm just not going to say it here. What are you saying, Kelly? You said that one. In regards to what? That one. Sometimes I just ramble and then I lose my train of thought. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. I think a lot of people are going to have to see this on the playback. I haven't seen a lot of people in here today. I did release a short today, and I don't really like making the short videos because they don't benefit the channel. I mean, not only am I not monetized, but even if I was, the views on the shorts, they don't count for anything unless I had like 10 million views. It just counts for nothing. It's not even like if I was monetized, I might not even see a penny, like a half a penny. So I shouldn't waste my time on the shorts, but I don't know when you guys get notified, if you're subscribed and you click the bell icon, do you get notified of the short, or do you only get notified of the live streams, the premieres, and like a long format video? Which, by the way, I haven't done a long format video in a long time. I haven't had the time with, the surgery and the follow-ups and, having to go 3 different places to get, an x-ray that turned out to be 4, and just trying to keep up with everything every day in this case. In regard to pistachio, yeah. And they were supposed to put some kind of topping on it, and they didn't. But as soon as I took a sip, it tasted way too sugary. Like, ugh. I'll probably have some kind of a sugar crash after this. I'll have to get up and walk around and drink a bunch of water and just, get rid of it. Not notified about shorts. Okay. Yeah, well, there's a short. I did a short today. Actually, I did it last night, but if you watch it or if you release it in the middle of the night, nobody's going to see it. And by the next day, the algorithm has moved on. So I think I put it out around noon today, Pacific time. And it just has like the FBI phone number. It's just regarding missing Nancy Guthrie. It's nothing special. Has anybody else heard of anything that I haven't talked about? Because we talked about the dailies. We talked about a little bit about Kayla Day. If you want to know more about them, you'd have to see yesterday's live. We cannot confirm she is or isn't related to the Guthries. There was a new ransom today that will have, there will be graphic consequences if their $6 million now in cryptocurrency is not paid. FBI has now made a request to Mexico for help. We went over that Sheriff Nanos allegedly cleared the family, and as Megyn Kelly would say, that's F and BS. But she says it more bluntly. I just, can't say it because someday I might try to reapply for monetization, so I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't say. There's one thing I did forget to mention. There's some people that are doing some deep diving, and they're like conspiracy theorists. Hi, Kellyanne Sullivan, Leanne. I saw that short. I can't remember if it was a notification or not. I shared it. Oh, thank you, Leanne. I just want to mention Savannah's current husband. His name is Michael Feldman. I thought he might have been a lawyer, but maybe not. I know she's a lawyer. I didn't know that in the past that she's a lawyer. Apparently, he's some sort of a consultant, and he worked very closely to Vice President Al Gore, and then he started some consulting firm in D.C. called the Glover Park Group, and they were one of their biggest clients were Bill and Hillary Clinton, and he was known as a cleanup guy for Bill Clinton, like for sure, like he was the internet scrubber on anything negative in relation to the Clintons. And he no longer works for this Glover Park Group, as far as I can see. He is a co-chair and partner in a company called FGS Global. I don't even know what that is or where they're located, but he's basically known over the internet amongst the general population. He's known as the Clinton cleanup guy, and people are saying because the Clintons are allegedly associated with the Epstein files, that him being a cleanup guy for Bill Clinton in regards to the possible Epstein files, that maybe because his wife interviewed people, including some alleged victims, that maybe someone's trying to send a message to her and they went after her mother. I doubt it. It's a possibility. It's a conspiracy theory. In this case, at this point, anything is possible. The only thing we know for sure is that she didn't walk away. Even if she had fallen down and hit her head and didn't have her wits about her, she wouldn't have, been able to climb up and, smash her own cameras. Like, she was definitely taken. Now, was she just simply abducted, or was she actually legitimately kidnapped for ransom? The whole thing is just, it's too suspicious. There's too many mistakes. I think they will catch the people who did this. The longer it goes, though, the less of a chance they have of recovering her either alive or even her body if deceased. Kellyanne, wonder if they actually do have sudden all the live updates from all the different TV channels around the world. I've noticed that on YouTube. Wonder if they actually do have. Let's see. Wonder if they actually do have sudden all the live updates from all the different TV channels around the world. I've noticed that on YouTube. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you're saying. I might have just read that wrong. If you want to clarify, please clarify, Kellyanne. I'm sorry. You mean like the police or the FBI? Like they're going through all the live updates? Well, I wish, like I said, I wish I was, 20 years younger and I didn't have my medical disabilities and I could just, hop on a Mustang and just fly across the desert and grab my camera, my tripod, and just get out there. It'd be really cool to be reporting from the scene. But, that's not my reality right now. And I'm here reporting this from Los Angeles. And once again, even though I am a detective, I am a licensed private investigator, I'm not involved in this case officially or unofficially in an investigative capacity in any way. I'm simply just reporting the news. That's all it is. I wish I had a really close friend, and sadly she passed away. And she was a broadcaster, a very famous broadcaster. And it would be great if she was still alive right now. I could have her go on with me, and just can't happen. Leanne, I'm back. I hit the scroll button. Okay, no problem. Very rarely, Kelly, because I'm very limited on what I can do. Uh, just because I can't go out in the field, and I mean I really am disabled, and it's funny because I did a lot of insurance work and state government work and a lot of fraud, and but yet there are really people out there that are sick that need help, and then it happens to me. It was like when I got my report back from Social Security and I read it was like a 6-page statement that the judge made, and I was reading it like I was reading case notes on somebody else, and then I realized, like, oh wow, this person's really jacked up health wise, and then I was like, oh my god, they're talking about me. you know this is things they found in my medical records, about my, like, they were talking about my back, and I'm like, no, I never claimed my back, and they're like, well, you should. um I mean, all my stuff was physical, but yeah, I do occasionally help somebody out, especially if it's somebody I know. But yeah, I can't be out there conducting surveillance anymore. um Now, eventually, someday, if I live long enough, my Social Security disability could convert to something else, retirement, and then maybe I could think about going back. But by then I'll probably be more jacked up than I am now. So yeah, it is what it is. So basically, I'm a part-time, non-monetized YouTuber. That's it. And I do sell occasionally on eBay, but I haven't been able to get my typical inventory that I used to get. And when I did the tax numbers and I looked at it, and it was like, I'm really not making any money on this, and it's costing me money to do this, and I don't know how much longer I want to be affiliated with all that anymore. So I'm just gonna kind of devote my time now to my YouTube channel for a while. I'm not saying that I would never have another, Whatnot Live, or, you know, but I can't go out and source inventory anymore. I can't go to the estate sales and the garage sales, and just not physically well enough to do so. And you know, I I've got my purse in one hand and my cane in the other, and it's just like, what, that's like, I can't go metal detect anymore. I haven't done that in, like, gosh, probably 10 years. It's so ridiculous. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. So this is just for entertainment purposes. Um, and not like, haha, let's, enjoy this. We're not. This is soul crushing. Knowing that this woman was taken at 84 years old out of her house at 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's 18 days later, and we don't know where she is. We don't know if she's alive. I do have a Whatnot account. I haven't done a show probably since 2025. But I do have a Whatnot account, and I do still have my eBay account. My eBay account is linked on my main channel page, and I do have some other links up as well, just in case somebody wants to buy something or contribute. Um, and once again, you can always send me a letter in the mail to business address, or you can send me an email, whether it's regarding this case or something else. And I do try to get back to all the comments that are put on the videos. I've had a lot of them lately since I started this series of videos, so I try to get to everybody. Do you guys have any questions? Or are we going to make this a short one today? Has anybody heard anything today that I haven't heard yet? Is there anything new on the case? I know that people are upset with the sheriff, that the sheriff's department had a contract with someone in Florida, and the FBI claims, that they shouldn't have sent that glove out of state, and it should have been tested at a lab in Arizona or sent to Quantico, Virginia, to the FBI headquarters. And when you have touch DNA, you may not be able to keep that DNA. You just get a one-time shot at it. But there's there could be 50 gloves that have been found by now. I've heard there's as many as 16. Kellyanne, I truly believe, and I don't know why they're going to find out in the next 2 weeks what happened to her. Oh, you're saying that they may find out in the next 2 weeks? I'm hoping that it's sooner than that. I thought it would already be solved by now, but the longer this goes, it's just going to be harder and harder to find her, especially if she's been buried or she's, underwater somewhere, God forbid. But until there's proof of that, I always say this in every missing persons case, until there's proof that she's deceased, you have to treat this case as if she's still living. You have to take the possibility that somebody does have her and that she could still be alive. I don't know how well she would be at this point without her meds. If they were in Mexico, perhaps they could get her some meds, but I just don't think this was a typical kidnapping, Now they're revising the timeline in the house from 41 minutes to 48 minutes. Kidnappers don't come in and stay in somebody's house for 48 minutes. Somebody was there for a purpose, and they weren't there to steal her purse or her cash or her jewelry or her electronics or her television set. Something was going on in that house for 48 minutes. And by the time it was over, she was bleeding and she was taken, never to be seen again. I suspect that she was put into a vehicle and driven away. Where she went after that, what do they have on the cameras that are in the corners at these intersections, the LPRs? I haven't heard anything about the white van lately. I still don't know why they're interested in the Range Rover. Obviously know why they were interested in her car and Annie and Tommaso's car. There's just so much we don't know. Hey, 23 people. Wow. I thought we had 8 people in here. Now it says 23. Thumbs up, everybody. Patricia, welcome back. Sooner, I hope. I believe that the sheriff has more answers than he has told us. Yes. An LPR is a license plate reader. And by the way, because I am a licensed PI, I do have access to that system. I've only had access for the last few years. I don't use it very often, considering that, the business is, 99% closed. 1% is still going. But I do have access to LPR. But I can't just run it for the sake of running it. There has to be, just like I have access to DMV as well, but I can't just run it to run something. It has to be an authorized use of the system. And in my job, I do have authorized uses in many cases. So I do have access to LPR. It's not cheap, but I do have access to it, and I do have access to DMV. Catherine, welcome. Where are you coming in from, Catherine? Excuse me, I just need to stay hydrated. I think it's rude, to sip something while I'm doing a live video. But I think my friend Hearts is not in here to remind me to hydrate. She was briefly in here earlier, just checking in. She's always like, hey, hydrate, hydrate. Has anybody else heard anything today that I haven't heard? Stuart, hello. I'm 33 years old from Ireland. Wow, the mother country. I'm part Irish. If you aren't as busy tomorrow, we will get married. Oh, thank you, Stuart. That's my first proposal. Well, I did have a junior high school boyfriend that used to talk about getting married, but that's my first proposal. Or is it my second? My second. Okay. Yeah, you're young enough to be my son. It's a maybe. But welcome in, Stuart. I hope you are subscribed. I hope you give this video a thumbs up and click that red hearts button. Let's get it shared. If you guys are just coming in, you can always see the beginning of this and everything that we discussed today on the replay. I discussed the dailies again and Kayla Day. I talked about the possible relationship or non-relationship to the Guthries. We talked a little bit more about Luke and the Range Rover and the Jahoob guy, the Metro guy who's reportedly hanging out in the Middle East right now. Don't know if that's true. We talked about the latest ransom, the FBI, something that Sheriff Nano said that's, as Megyn Kelly would say, effing BS. We talked a little bit about Michael Feldman. That's the current husband of Savannah Guthrie. And he is back in Arizona, by the way. He was seen in Florida over the weekend with his kids, but he has come back. I do not know if the kids were with him. And we also talked about, just as entertainment purposes, how we discussed what the woman in Australia picked up on from the spirit box reading. And I don't believe any of that to be true. But somebody read that, or they saw my video, and they were like, "Oh, I've got to contact some organization that goes out and looks for victims underwater." Like, no, please don't call any authorities based on just some content you heard here while we're just having an open discussion about what's in the press or what's on YouTube or what's in the news, or let's not tie up any law enforcement officials regarding this. If you have something important that you want to say, but you don't want to say it in the chat or in the comments afterwards, feel free to send me an email. If it's something important, I can always forward it to the people that are involved in this case. Kellyanne says there have been a lot of different updates on YouTube. Yes. And some of them more credible than others. We still don't know. I think, was it yesterday? There was 2 different cars that pulled up. They were let into Nancy Guthrie's home by the sheriff, and they didn't look like law enforcement. Some people suggested perhaps they were PIs. For some reason, I thought they were safecrackers. I don't know why I thought that, but somebody did pull up to the house and was let into a rear door yesterday. One guy was carrying a briefcase, and they left. So we don't know what those 2 people were at the house, what they were doing, but they were expected to be there because the sheriffs did let them in. Let's see. Okay, it says ABC7 says Nancy Guthrie update. FBI reaches out to Mexican authorities. Yeah, that's true. That happened today. They've gone to the government of Mexico asking for help from certain law enforcement locations. They didn't disclose which locations, but there is some sort of official link now between the United States and Mexico on this case. To what extent? I don't know. I think it goes beyond just border patrol. I think it has to do with the Mexican police. I mean, it couldn't hurt. It absolutely couldn't hurt. Because we don't know if she was brought over the border. But, Border Patrol never saw anything that indicated that she was brought over the border. But, who knows? Especially if she was a body hidden somewhere. I don't know. I hope that wherever she is, that she's well. I hope that she's just not going through terror every moment. Kellyanne says, been talking about the glove, the car, different people they demand. Some note they keep going around in circles saying the same thing. Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of, corrections, because one day somebody says this and the next day somebody says that. Bergman says, exactly, you don't know. Yeah, we don't know. I'm not involved in this case as an investigator. I am a licensed private detective, and I'm getting ready to celebrate my anniversary in another 6 days. Not really going to do anything since, I'm mostly disabled now and can't really operate the business very much anymore. But it is still technically open. And I'm not an expert in kidnappings or abductions. I've worked some in my career, but kidnappings are not that prominent in today's times. We have cameras and surveillance everywhere, so it's not like it was in the 50s or the 60s or even, like before my time. Why would they go to Mexico? Well, we don't know if they did or they didn't. I don't know why. Alvin is my man, stay away. Okay, I don't know what that means. Yeah, what are you saying? Taken by Alvin. That note just wasn't written by a professional kidnapper. That's why it was so hokey. But I'm not saying it's not a legit note. There's a very important saying in that note without getting off track here, but there's one of the first things that is said in the JonBenet Ramsey ransom note is, "We are a group." That's a very important part of that note, and that's all I'm going to say. Um, wow, 23 people watching, 17 thumbs up. If you guys can give me a thumbs up. You can always go back and rewatch the video if you've missed anything. It's not a long video today, so it wouldn't take too long to watch it from the start. You can place anything in the comments, send me an email. Karen, oh my God, Desert Law is a reality show on A&E. It's a reality show about, get this, Pima County Sheriff. Oh my gosh, I've never heard of that. But see, I don't really watch TV. Desert Law, never heard of that one. It's a reality show on A&E. I love A&E. I haven't had cable in years. Although today, I did renew my very, very small Sportsnet LA package that they started offering last year during baseball season, where you don't have to sign up for cable and like $160 to $200 package. You can just sign up for a month-to-month thing where you can see baseball. So the first game is Saturday. And so it's not a real game. It's just a spring training game. But I did take care of that today. I think the sheriff is seeking publicity or what? Yeah, he was busy doing interviews and then hanging out at a basketball game. I have no faith in him anymore. Especially saying publicly that certain people were cleared when that is absolutely not the case. Kelly Ann says, but I don't understand is why all the people they would take her mother at 84 years old with a pacemaker, no meds. It is because of money. I feel like there's a lot more to this that's not being said or sent. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more going on, especially with Savannah making that statement on Instagram. And if you saw my live on Sunday, or was it the Monday one? I'm getting confused. Just watch the whole series on this. She made a statement where she seemed to be talking directly to somebody. And I went over that also in yesterday's live broadcast, her exact words. And I think on one of her prior videos, I actually played her statement. And that just seemed very specific. That didn't seem like a random, she was talking to somebody in that video. So there's definitely something more going on that the family knows that police are not telling the public. Because that video was very specific to someone. That's just my opinion, my humble opinion. He's in the show. Oh, the county sheriff, Nanos. Hi, Stephanie Perry. Where are you coming in from, Steph? My childhood friend, my best childhood friend was named Stephanie. Oh, Karen, speaking about TV, it was actually something on YouTube. You had me watch a channel. What was it? Channeling of Eric or by Eric, something about channeling and Eric. I did check that out yesterday after I went live. and I saw the part 2 video regarding this case. I didn't see the part 1. It's like a two-parter. I did see that. Kind of interesting. Thanks for, recommending that. I don't go down the psychic rabbit hole very often. Yeah, it is strange. And I didn't really understand that there was the two women there, because I guess Eric is one of the woman's dead son. One of the two women has a dead son, deceased son, who unalived himself, and that's where she gets her information. But then there was another lady that was chatting, so it was like, okay, who's who, what's what, you know. I just don't have time to see everything, but I did watch that part 2 regarding missing Nancy Guthrie. And I can't think of the woman's name that I watched in Australia. I just know that she has a daughter named Kayla. I don't remember the name of her channel. But somebody wrote a message to me this morning or last night, because I'm getting so many messages now saying, "Oh, I saw that lady too," because she was put up in my feed as I was, and I was like, "Wow, YouTube put me in somebody's feed?" You know, that's what I'm saying. Like the more subs I get, even though you don't make money from subs, you only make money from views, and if you're monetized. But the more I can grow it, then that would kind of make YouTube push it out there more into the algorithm. So the hearts help, the thumbs up help, the comments, even after we go off the air, if you want to go back and rewatch the video or just put something in the comments, that helps. That shows engagement. Not sure, just found it browsing. Oh, what, the thing about Eric? Oh, you're not sure about the connection between the two women. Yeah, I wasn't really sure. I know the lady from Australia, it's like a mother and a daughter. And she seems like a nice lady. It was kind of interesting, actually, what she had to say. Not that I believe it, but it was interesting. But somebody that's been watching me now watched that yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, I got to contact this organization now to do some underwater searching. Like, please don't waste any authorities' time based on something you heard here when I was just for entertainment. We just talked about the lady in Australia. I mean, it was worth a watch. It wasn't that long. Her videos aren't that long. Sometimes I lay in bed late at night and I watch these things. I don't know. It's like this is 18 days into this now. Can you imagine what Savannah is going through right now and her family? And her whole life is on hold. She's supposed to be in Italy right now hosting the Olympics. She can't even go to work. She can't even be at home in her own house. She's out in Tucson, presumably. If I were part of the family, I would investigate any leads I got, especially as this goes on and on. Well, even though they're not going to say it publicly, I'm sure that they probably have private investigators working this. I mean, they would be stupid not to. You can't just rely on Pima County Police and the FBI. I mean, as a private investigator, I've worked on a lot of cases in my career that the FBI had at one time or another, and they couldn't handle them. I've worked on cases that the LAPD Threat Management Unit had with celebrities, and they couldn't handle them. And then they have to call in the big. You have to call in the big guns. You got to call in the PIs. Sometimes the FBI, they have more resources as far as the evidence and the labs and fingerprints and DNA. But while their agents were hitting the books in college, I was doing college and working security work, PI work. I've dedicated my whole life to it. Sometimes the FBI, they don't have all the answers, but when it comes to kidnappings, that's who you want to call. But I would think that she does have PIs working for her. I know that their security teams have been ramped up at NBC with people on the Today Show. And I'm sure that she and her husband and her children's security have been ramped up as well. But Yeah, I'm sure they got people working this. Gumshoes, yeah, that's us. You know, back in the day when I started, there was no computer, there was no internet, there was no cell phone, there were no pagers, fax machines, and it was a lot of legwork. And I look back on some of that, like, oh my God, I had all my PI cases, plus I had my license. I had some of my cases by myself, and then I had cases that I worked for a very prominent agency that worked for some of the most famous people in the world. And I had those accounts, and I had TV contracts, or not contracts, but they had contracts with certain TV shows. And, you know, I was also working for one of the entertainment payroll companies, one of the biggest in the world. And so I was always out doing movie gigs or television gigs. And like, I look back on that now and I'm like, I don't even know how I slept or ate. No wonder I was so skinny back then. I was probably almost half the weight that I am now. Like, I was just like as light as a feather, could barely fit into my clothes, just, you know, just high energy and just work, 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 work. And now I feel like I could just, you know, sleep 20 hours a day, but I can't. So times have changed. And I have not aged gracefully with all this stuff that's happened. You haven't met a poor person before. Nice to meet you. I never said I was poor. Where'd you get that? Have you seen my bank accounts? I'm YouTube poor, yeah. No monetization. If you want to help, you know, I still have my cancer GoFundMe. It's linked on the main channel page. You can send me a Cash App, a PayPal, a Venmo. Heck, just put cash in an envelope and send it to my business address. I'll be happy to consider it an early birthday present. And that's for Jody. Yeah, I was literally working my butt off. Sometimes I lay awake in bed at night and I think about that and I'm like, how did I do it? Or I'll have a dream. And, you know, in dreams, there's no time or space. So is it the present? Is it the future? Is it the past? Is it a combination of all three? And I'll be like trying to conduct an investigation and interviews, and we're trying to get somewhere. And, you know, it's just stress, stress, stress. And then I wake up like, oh, thank God, it's just a dream. Like all that's behind me. It would have been cool, though, if there would have been YouTube back then. Or we would have had cell phones. Not that I would have been able to take pictures on any of the movie gigs or the TV gigs. That was definitely an interesting career. Yeah, this is almost getting comical. Some of the people that have come in. I've had a marriage proposal day. I've had a marriage proposal today from Ireland. And I've been accused of being a poor person. Ladybug says, pulling off the highway to find a payphone to make a phone call. Exactly. My aunt accused me of taking Nositol. I don't know what that is. Yeah, sometimes you pull off to make that payphone in LA and you walk right in the middle of a drug deal and they're looking at you like, lady, we're making a deal here. What are you doing on the payphone? And it's all like grimy and germy and ugh. Yeah, good luck. Not many paid phone booths anymore. Or they used to have them in the courthouses in downtown LA, and they were old, like from the 40s, and there were these little boxes, like sitting in a coffin. I still don't know what you're talking about, Karen. Yeah, my very first case in Beverly Hills, it involved a celebrity family and a movie star and a stalker. And a paying client was a movie star, but the people we were actually doing the job for was a famous family. And there was a really dangerous situation going on. And because it was my first gig, the guy that hired me to do it, who was a licensed PI, you know, he was really fearful that something was going to happen. And he's like, if anything happens, you just leave, you just get the hell out of there, and you drive to a payphone and you call the police. And he said, we've even called in a code 5 for you. And I'm like, don't call in a code 5. The Beverly Hills cops will be all over me all night long. They'll be coming up, driving up the street, stopping, waving. Then about a year or so later, the movie Beverly Hills Cop came out. And I had to laugh my ass off because it was like when Eddie Murphy walks out of Detroit and he goes to Beverly Hills and whoa, it was the same thing because I had been used to doing ride-alongs in Maryland and DC with the cops. And the cars are they're so filthy. You come out like you got to decontaminate. It's so bad, especially in a cage car, like, ugh. And then you go out here in LA and the wax, the moon is bouncing off the wax on the hood of the police car, like, oh, geez. And I had to make that decision. Like, when I drove into that neighborhood, I didn't see any payphones in Beverly Hills in a residential neighborhood. Like, where am I going to go? And now there's this, young woman home alone and, something happens. I'm going to like drive away. 2 or 3 miles away and go to a payphone to say, hey, I think I need some help. Like, no, I'm just going to get out of the car and, do what I have to do, unarmed. Let's just hope that doesn't happen tonight. And it didn't. And it went well and a career was born. Kellyanne, I admire you a lot. Know what you're talking about. You've been there. Yeah. I think that's why these videos are doing better than the rest of my videos because I do know what I'm talking about. And even though I don't have a whole lot of kidnapping experience, I do have some. I have some. It goes back to the 80s and 90s. And also, not to get into it here tonight, but I did mention on this channel in one of the videos, I felt kind of weird about it, but I had somebody in my immediate family, a couple generations before me, that was kidnapped. And so I know how the real deal works. And this just doesn't follow a typical kidnapping. I'm not saying that she wasn't kidnapped. She was obviously abducted. But was it a kidnapping? And was she dead before she left that house? I'm not so sure. Because at first I was thinking she was dead before she left the house. And then I was thinking, well, maybe she lived up to the first 24 hours. But I don't know. But I do feel deeply that she's no longer with us. And I hope I'm so wrong. I would love to be able to come on here and say they found her and she's alive. But I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. Everybody gives up. If you're here and you haven't given a thumbs up, please do so. If you didn't see the beginning where we went over everything, and I'm not going to go over it again, but you can always rewatch the playback. Or you can just start at the very beginning on February the 2nd and watch all the videos. I have at least one a day, sometimes two. I do not have a video for February the 6th as I was in surgery that day. But I was able to get right back on here on the 7th and the 8th. And that video, my God, I had like over 3,000 people that came in. Not all at the same time, obviously, but I couldn't believe the numbers on that. And I'm like, wow, these vertical lives, they're working. Sunshine Day. Oh, that reminds me of the Brady's. Nope, she is gone. Yeah, I think you're right. I hope we're all wrong because most everybody's feeling like I'm feeling like she's gone. Sorry, I had a phone call. No problem. Sunshine Days. It makes me, for many years I lived in the Brady Bunch neighborhood, the Brady Bunch house neighborhood, and I live down the street from there now. And Sunshine Days. I just think of Dilling. But I like that. And I'm sure it's not a Brady Bunch reference as far as your name, your username, but that's what I think of Sunshine. I think of the Brady kids singing Sunshine Day, and then I can't get that stupid song out of my head. Anybody have anything to say? Is there any breaking news? Something that's happened while I've been online that I don't know about? If not, we're just going to wrap this up. We're going on to 70 minutes now. Geez, I only wanted to go no longer than an hour. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the red hearts. Once the video's able to upload and process to YouTube, I don't know how soon you guys can get in afterwards. I know the chat can take 24 to 48 hours to come back, but I think you can see the video without the chat. Before that, feel free to place comments. If anybody has any tips and they just want to send me an email or, send a letter to my address, feel free. Don't waste your time, calling the cops unless you actually have some real information. But hey, if the people that have her are watching this, do the right thing, man. It's not too late. It's not too late to do the right thing. It's never too late to do the right thing and start anew and start over. And, oh, Kelly says, NBC News has new information. What is it, Kelly? What is the information? They have a video. What type of video? Video from the night of the crime? It's a video, no idea yet. Okay, I'll get right on that and I'll see what it is. Thumbs up, everybody, red hearts. I hope you're subscribed. Hit that bell icon. I know that YouTube doesn't always, sometimes they'll unsubscribe someone or they'll, you'll have that bell icon clicked and they'll unclick you. Make sure that you are subscribed and that you do click the bell icon. Ladybug, even if she's not alive, the family needs closure. Please let someone know. Absolutely. Absolutely. Where is she? Whether she's buried or she's underwater or she's in a trunk of a car or, God forbid, somebody's shed or barn or, wherever she's at, like, it's not too late to come forward. Even if you just have information that could help the authorities find her, it's never too late to come forward. No judgment here. We're not here to judge anybody. We're not here to be the judge and the jury. We're just here to find Nancy. That's what we want to do. We want to find Nancy. And if there's something you want to say and you don't want to say it in the comments and you don't want to say it in the chat and you want to send me an email to aprildavispi@gmail.com, or you want to send me something more extensive, where you're going to need to send it in the mail, you can send it to my business address in Studio City. It will get picked up by someone. It'll get to me. And I don't know if I can respond to everybody, but if you have any information that needs to be forwarded to the FBI, I'll be happy to do that. I really appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you, Ladybug. I haven't seen you before. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to close this off in just a moment. Good night.